Hey everyone, so welcome to today's webinar. So we will wait for until say 9:05 because usually by then everyone who is who's remembered the webinar last minute would have already joined in about 5 minutes. So while we wait, I'd like to know in the chat what sort of business you guys are doing. Do you already have a business? If so, what sort of business it is, what industry? If you'd like, you can share the name and tell us what it's all about, what you guys do. If you don't have a business right now, but you are planning on doing a business in future, maybe like a few ideas that you have in your mind, like what sort of business that you have in mind and what you hope to do with it. So just share in the chat. I hope you can find the chat. It's right in the at the bottom. There's a little box that says chat. Just click on it and give some of details about your business. So one thing I'd like to get when I do the lesson or the workshop, I'd like to take examples from your business, so it's easier for you to understand and relate to. So it's always useful if you can share a little bit of details about your business so I can take them as examples. All right. Also, it'll be great if you guys can keep the mics mute. You don't have to be on video if you really want to, but just to save the bandwidth, because at this time is a busy time. So you guys can go off video. You don't have to stay on video because we are going to just share the slide deck most of the time. All right. So let's see. What have you guys shared? Online store, starting a business, newly started, planning to start a fashion studio and an interior studio together. Do not know where to start. Okay. Social media marketing. Awesome. I haven't started still, but planning to start mainly Instagram and Facebook and SEO. Great. Not sure what to do, just doing customized designs. Okay, and just start. Okay, so everyone who has said just starting, planning on starting, if you can at least share what industry, if you can't really mention what business, maybe you could mention the industry, like is it food and beverage, is it fashion, is it retail, is it e-commerce, is it delivery, like just a basic idea of what your industry is. That will be super helpful if you can. All right. And always, if there is something that, if there's some information that you want to share or you want to ask me a question and you're feeling kind of awkward in public too, because it's too related to your business, you can always send a message, like instead of posting it to everyone, you can see like there's a blue button at the bottom of your chat box that says everyone, so you can click and find me. It should show Indu Nanayakkara, so you can find me and ask me any question that sometimes, some business information you may not feel comfortable sharing it in the public if you feel so, but otherwise always welcome to share it in public because then we all can learn something. All right, so there's a long fashion industry and architecture, delish products, making jams, sauce, curry, powders. Okay, great. All right, e-commerce, soap making. Wow. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, so so let's start. Let's quickly get onto the slide deck, and we'll start the session. All right. let's start. So as I mentioned in the email and in the event, we are going to talk about the 4-step process to kind of kickstart your social media when you're a small business owner and you're not really sure how to start and where to start. Okay, so we will go into detail. So 2 main things that we are going to learn today. One is the 6 biggest issues preventing most small business owners from getting started with social media for their business. That's the first thing. And the next thing is the 4-step process, which I just mentioned, to kickstart your social media for the business, even if you're facing some of those issues. Now, out of these 6 issues, we are really going to deep dive into 3 of them, right? Because those are the most crucial in order to get your social media up and running when it comes to a small business. All right, so I already asked this question, whether you are running a business and what the details are. So let's just quickly take a look at if this webinar is for you. So firstly, if you have a business idea but you haven't launched it and you're wondering if you should start social media first or your business first, this is for you. All right. And if you already started a business and you're not sure how and where to start your social media, again, this is for you. You have a business, you got your social media started, but you're so overwhelmed, like, oh my God, how am I going to run all my social media updates and focus on business because I'm so tired of time? Again, it's for you. Right. What this is not for, who this is not for, is if you don't have a business idea at all, and you might not even have a, want to start a business, but maybe you just want to get some knowledge in social media. It's not really for you, but if you hang in there, you will learn something. So it's completely up to you if you want to stay or not, right? I'm not telling you to go, but you will definitely learn something, but it's not exactly for you. Second person that's not for, your business is up and running, and so it's your social media, but you're looking for growth. So this is not where I'm going to give you tips on growth, how to get followers, how to do your videos. Not that webinar, okay? This is just before that. All right. If you want that, then there's another workshop that's on this weekend. It's a 2-day, full day, half a day weekend, half day Saturday and half day Sunday. You'll get to know a little bit more about that at the end of this. Third person, if your business is up and running and you have an internal team or an agency to run it anyway, again, this is not going to help you. And if you're an expert in social media, you're not going to learn anything today. All right. All right, let's move on. So a few more things. Use a laptop if you can for the best experience. I already told you, I think in the email, to grab a notebook and a pen, and keep a glass of water handy because you might get a bit thirsty because it's 90 minutes. And turn off notifications on your phone and any other distractions, please. And let's try to focus. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Indu Nanayakkara. Most of you may know me. Some of you may not know me. I've been in the industry of social media marketing for over 10 years, and I've been head of digital marketing at 2 different agencies, collectively about 8 years. And I worked with lots of different brands here and overseas in all areas of digital marketing. And right now, I'm the co-lead or co-manager of Google Business Group and the country lead for women. Both are Google initiatives, Google communities across the world. And I've been speaking at all different events like Startup Weekends, Spike, Google I/O Extender, Disrupt Asia, all sorts of events. And I've also been to, cool places like Google headquarters, Facebook headquarters, Twitter, and met interesting people like Hillary Clinton and all of that. And for the past many years, while I teach, I've also been really, really keen in learning the latest trends in social media, to stay updated. So it's a never-ending game. If you're in social media or any other field, you really need to keep up to speed. So without further ado, let's go into the 6 biggest issues that most small businesses face when it comes to starting up their social media marketing. Okay, first one, where to start? I know I saw that question in our chat box also. Where do you start? The first question, do I start social media and then the business? Or do I start the business and then social media? That's the biggest question. And then once you decide, okay, whichever one you're going to do, how do I start social media? Okay, where do I start? Is it Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Is it YouTube? What? And the next question you will face is, okay, so who is my target audience and where I'm going to find them online, right? And the next question, okay, let's say you figured out how to start it, you found your target audience. Now you have to produce all this content every single day or every other day on so many different platforms. How am I going to keep up with that and running my business and taking care of all the business activities? Okay, let's say you've nailed down that also. Now you're publishing on social media, everything is going good, but nobody seems to be noticing you online. Like nobody's seeing you. How am I going to be seen? And let's say now you're seen as well, but nobody responding, no comments, no likes, maybe 1 or 2. So how do I get engagement? And then finally, okay, people are seeing you, people are engaging with you, they say they love your products, they love your whatever stuff that you're selling. But when it comes to selling time, nobody's buying it, right? So these are the biggest issues that small businesses face in terms of starting out and growing. All right, now we won't have the time to go through all of these issues today, but we will nail some of the very, very, very crucial and essential problems. We will see, first of all, how to solve this and some tactical measures. That's why I asked to bring the notebook on how to get about it in a practical way. All right, so what has been your biggest issue when it comes to starting your business or growing your business? Let me know in the chat. If you can let me know, if you can share something. I think 1 or 2 people shared, but if any of you can resonate to these 6 points or 6 issues that we mentioned today, let me know. Let's see. Okay, where to start and how to start. Yeah. COVID problem. Yeah, true. That's a serious problem. Engagement. Okay. Engagement and reach. All right. So I will give you the short answers to these things. It's just that we won't go deep diving into every one of those problems, but I am going to give you the solution for these questions. So stick around. Okay. Getting ideas to create content. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so let's move on. So that's why I want to introduce the 4-step process that I would recommend you to go about when it comes to starting your social media marketing. So this is mainly about getting started, right? Okay, so the 4 steps are the where, which is where are you right now in your business or in your social media marketing. Then where do you want to be, right? What place do you want to be? And the third one, who is your customer, and the how can you be seen by the customer? So those are the 4 first steps that you want to do when it comes to starting off social media marketing. But before we go there, that at first I mentioned, okay, do you start your business first and social media first? or social media? So the answer to that question is there's no right or wrong answer. Both are okay. You can either start your social media and then start your business, or you can first start your business and then start social media. Both work, but if you are starting social media before you start your business, there are few good ways, like better ways of starting. So one is you can start your social media pages in your industry and gather steam, like gather people behind you. Let's say gather an audience that is related to the industry or the niche of the business that you're planning on starting. For example, okay, let's say, okay, just take my business, for example, social media marketing. Chat message, okay. Not a group. I'm talking about either, okay, it could be a group also, but a group wouldn't really be a long-term solution for social media. So I'll tell you why I'm saying this later on. But what I'm talking about is a Facebook page, a Instagram business account, a Twitter account, a LinkedIn page, a Pinterest page, a YouTube account, a podcast, a blog page. Those are the entities that I'm talking about, right? So it could be any of the others, like it could be a TikTok, it could be whatever, right? Whatever the business platform. Now, a group, I wouldn't recommend. You can start a group, but not as your business's official only entity on social or on Facebook. If you have a page and a group, yes, that'll work. But you can start a group before you start your business and then move on to a page. That is fine. The only thing is, and you can connect the group to the page later. The only thing is the group is very close niche, close knit, and it's a closed group. So you wouldn't be able to do a lot of publicity work, but you will definitely gather a very group of like-minded people. Anyway, what I'm talking about is, so if you start a page or a Facebook page or Instagram account or something in your niche, let's say mine, I could have started something in social media marketing and talk about social media marketing and then change it to say my name or whatever my business name, right? I could have done that. So that's one way of starting social media before the business. The other way is you can do like a teaser page and then do a launch on social media and then start your business. That is also possible. Again, it should be something related to your niche or your audience, right? And then you can start the business. Once you start getting some interest in your business, and then you can start your social media with a bang. So you can, maybe you have an email list or something, and then you can just email that list. Okay, we are on social, please follow us, and start some campaigns where you can kind of prompt them to join. So those are the two different ways you can start. So there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on how you and why you want to start. So let's move on. So the first step is, where are you now? So that's where I would recommend you to start with, where your business and your social media is right now. Okay, so the recommended tool for this is social media audit. Okay, here is I think if you got my email, if you check the email, if you registered before 8 p.m. you would have got the email with all these details. So take a pen and paper or a notebook and try to answer these questions to the best of your knowledge. If you don't have a business already, you may not be able to answer these questions, but listen to me and try to understand, and then do this once you start your business. All right, and as in once you start social media for your business. Okay, so what are we going to do here? A social media audit is a tool or a way of doing some work where you can figure out where your social media stands as at right now. Okay, so the first step is to figure out what are the different social networks your business is on social. So write down all the networks. So if you're on Facebook, let's say Facebook page, maybe you have a Facebook group, then Facebook group. If you have an Instagram page, you can put that, and any other social network like, you know, YouTube or anything, just list down every single. So if you have 2-3 Facebook pages, put them all down. All right. So if you don't remember anything, you can just quickly go and check the name, or if you're not sure, you have no way of checking now, make a note to yourself to check it right now. Second thing is, what is the URL of the page or the profile? That is the web address. So if it's Facebook, then it's facebook.com/some name or some bunch of numbers, right? That's the URL. When you go to your main page or main account, the web address that comes on top, that's what you need to copy and paste here. So basically, I want you to do this on an Excel sheet if you can, or a Google sheet or any type of sheet, and just list all the answers. So write down, just make a note that you will go check and then put these details down. Third one is, who is the primary admin or the owner of each of these pages or profiles? So if you have even a Facebook group, all of that goes into this. Are you the primary owner? Are you sharing the ownership or the main admin status with someone else? Or you have no control, but somebody else is running them, maybe an agency, maybe a third party, maybe a friend. Just make a note of who has access to your social media pages. And the fourth one is, what is the mission of your business or the brand on each of these social networks that you wrote down. So let's say you have one Facebook page, one Facebook group, one Instagram account, and one YouTube channel. Now, you should not be publishing the exact same content on all 4 of these entities. That is the thing. That's why we want to figure out, okay, what's the mission? So what I mean by this is, what's your purpose of having 4 of these social media accounts, right? Why do you need to have 4 social media accounts? Can you do all of what you're doing on all these 4 platforms or networks with one? Okay, if you can't, then that's the time you need to figure out, okay, I'm using my Facebook page for this purpose, I'm using the group for this purpose, I'm using my Instagram for this purpose, and I'm using YouTube for this purpose. You understand? Just examples. If you understand, can you just let me know in the chat? Yes? Let me know in the chat if you understood that part. No, yes, okay, cool. Let me, okay. All right. Okay, let me give you one example. Okay, let me give you this example from my business, because I'm not sure how exactly you want to do this on your business. Okay, so I have a Facebook page, I have several groups, and I have an Instagram account, and I have a Twitter account. Okay, so what I'll do with these networks are, and I'm planning on starting YouTube. Not yet. I have a channel, but it's not very active. So Facebook is mainly to give awareness about all the business stuff that I'm doing. So that will tell you about all my workshops, all my free stuff, all the maybe some important and interesting news that's happening on social media, anything that is to do with business side of social media. Okay, and maybe some tips and tricks and all of that. But my groups, there are a few groups for different purposes. So there's one group for all the past students of my workshop. So those are only for the paid workshops, right? And then there's a group for anyone who's seeking social media jobs and looking to hire social media people. Then there's another group for, there are a couple of groups for like private, like closed group trainings that I have done. So those students are there. And there's 2 that I started 2 years ago for beginners. So one in Sinhala and one in English. I'm actually going to end those groups very soon and amalgamate into something different. So those are for different purposes. Then my Instagram is more about the Indu behind Indu Nanayakkara. Okay, so a little bit more about me, slightly more personal stuff like what am I doing, where am I going, why am I doing what do I think of things, who do I work with, what's my family like. So little bit of more personal information, because my business goes under my name, so it's a personal brand, right? And then my Twitter is all about the, social media news, social media, everything that's happening in the social media arena, and all the what the experts say, I retweet them. So that's how the slight differences are with all my social networks. Now do you understand a little bit? Tell me yes or no in chat, in the in the chat. Do you get it a little bit? All right, so the idea here is, if you don't have something different to tell in each of these channels, then either don't bother with it because it's a waste of your time. B, think of what differentiation can you do, right? And it should make sense, because some platforms are more known for, so Twitter is very newsy. So that's why I want to put all the social media news, what other people are saying, all sorts of things on the Twitter side. And whereas Instagram is more personal, it's about personal branding, it's about influencer, so all of that. So it's better to talk about the more personal side of things on Instagram. So that's why I decided on these two. So y'all can have, so Instagram is also very visual. So if you're in the more design side of things, so you can go into that area on Instagram. So if your brand has something very visual about it, you can go into Instagram. So YouTube, at whatever point I'm starting, it's going to be like fully on education, right? All sorts of learning, like educational stuff. Sometimes you can have one connecting to the other. There can be overlaps. I'm not saying like 100% be different, but there has to be some main purpose. So that's why, what is the mission? What's the main purpose of each platform for your business? All right. So let's move on. Any doubts? Let's sort it out at the Q&A. So brand check notes. What are your branding guidelines? Do you have branding guidelines? Maybe something as simple as a logo and brand colors, and maybe brand fonts or any other design matters when it comes to branding. So do you have any of those? That's the question. And the other one, is your social media page or profile according to these branding guidelines? So you need to check each one. Are they like all the graphics that are going, are the text that is going there, or videos or any other visual elements that are going in there, are they according to the brand guidelines or not? Okay. Then the next question, are your passwords centralized? Yes or no? Are each of your social media pages or profiles password in a single document, or where you can access it? Are they shared with others, or you don't know the password? So except for maybe Facebook pages and all of that, but in that case it's important to know your Facebook account password, right? So apart from those things, the email that's connected to all of these networks, are the passwords of those emails checked? Do you have two-step verification on, right? All of those questions are what you need to ask yourself and mark for each of those channels. And is your password secure? Is it ABC123 or PASSWORT, or your name, your cat's name, whatever? Or is it like a 16 or more characters with capital, simple, special characters, numbers, all of that included? Okay. So you need to check those things. Make a note. If you are not sure about it, just make a note. And these are really, really important things, because we are talking about business. Business are profit making, and it means money. So if you lose one of your channels, trust me, I've heard these stories more than I would like to hear. It's a disaster. It's a complete disaster, right? So check, make sure these things are in place before you get into the serious stuff. These are superbly important. I would also recommend you a tool called LastPass. So either LastPass, or there are other tools like that. They're called password managers. Use a good password manager. My recommendation is LastPass. I've been using it for like the past 10 years. It's awesome. Never failed me like once. And you can use it for free, but there are others out there. If you already use it, that's not an issue, but use that because it helps you remember the password without remembering all the different passwords, because you don't want to put the same password in the same account, right? And finally, if there was anything that we discussed in this page that you want to make a note for yourself, quickly write down the forward plans. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. So I'll give you 30 seconds to write down any forward plans. All right. In the meantime, if you have any questions so far about this, please ask me. Okay. What's the password manager? It's called LastPass. Let me type it. LastPass. This is, for me, this is the best, but everybody has their own opinion. So do your own research, find out what works for you. So basically a password manager is an extension or some kind of an app or a tool or whatever you call it that sits on your browser and on your mobile phone, that helps you, that saves all your password. It has a master password, which is the only password you need to remember. And you can set like all sorts of different complicated 30 character, 40 character long passwords if you want to, and save all of them because you don't have to remember any of them. Get it? All right, moving on. Step 2. So step 1 was where you are right now. Where is your business's social media right now, right? So those are the basic, like the most important fundamental things you need to sort out before you even think about content. All right. Second step is where do you want to be? So let's do a quick checklist of, I'm going to just ask you a few questions, and these answers will help you figure out where you want to be. So these are 5 different questions, 5 different areas. Actually, in the original checklist, there are about 3 or 2 questions in every segment. If you want the original quick checklist, let me know. Just drop me an email. I will share the checklist with you. So first area that we want to figure out is objectives. What are the top 3 business goals or expectations for the year, for the, let's say, by 31st December this year. So if you haven't started a business yet and it's not going to start until next year, then think about what are your top 3 goals are going to be by the end of next year. So if you have already started a business this year, then you're going to start in the next couple of months, then think about end of this year. If not, think of end of this, if you already started, think of end of this year. If not, think of the end of next year. So top 3 business goals, not social media goals. Okay. So just write it down in your notebook or your paper. Top 3 business goals. Let's say you want to grow into serving so many customers. You want to have so many products. You want, what sort of expansion, what market are you going to serve in? Things like that. Okay. How much revenue do you want to generate? It's very, very important. Okay. And the next question is, who is your ideal customer? So this is where we are going to discuss the customer avatar, which will come later. So who is your ideal customer, meaning who is the best customer that you can think of if you already have customers, like the type of customer you love and enjoy serving or selling to, whichever way. And on the flip side, you can think about, okay, if there was any person in the world who could be your customer because you are solving their biggest issue, who is that person, right? Maybe you know this person in real life, maybe you really haven't met the person, but think of like, okay, let's say if you are, let's take some of these examples right now. That's the right time to take those examples. online store. Oh, I don't know what exactly you are selling when you say online store and e-commerce. Let's see a better example. Okay, fashion studio, right? So fashion studio, who is your ideal customer? Are you looking at men's fashion or women's fashion or kids fashion or all of them? So if it's men's fashion, obviously your ideal customer is a man. And what sort of age group? So younger people have a certain type of fashion sense, whereas more mature people have a different fashion sense. Middle-aged and mature, like older seniors, have different fashion sense. So you have to think about which segment, or are you serving all of these people, right? So that's what you need to figure out, who is your ideal customer. So you can have different segments like men, women, children, or men only, women only, children only, certain age group only. That's how you want to define it. And the third one is on competition. Who are your top 3 direct competition? So how we define direct competition is this business in the same industry and the same niche? Okay, so let's take another example. Okay, social media marketing, right? So is this competitor in the same arena? Was it an agency? You haven't started. Okay, so is it like, are you going to provide like social media management services, or are you going to run like an agency, like a full service agency? So it could be you are providing social media services as a freelancer, where you personally manage different businesses' social media accounts. Or it could be you want to start a little agency where you hire different people. Some people are doing content, some people are doing creatives, and some people are doing strategy and all of that. And then you take over the entire process of, like a full service agency. Or is it someone like me? I don't do any of that. I do consulting and training, right? So it's 3 different entities. So even though all 3 of us are in the same business of social media marketing, we are not direct competitors. You understand? So I can help someone like you. Okay, assuming you are a one person freelancer sort of a person, just guessing, okay? Just an example. So let's assume you are a one person freelancer who's doing social media services, management services. You do your own graphics, you do your own copy, you do your own strategy, versus an agency. Because some businesses prefer a single person taking over everything, whereas other people prefer agencies. So there might be a slight competition between the two, but it's not really a direct competition. Same thing with someone like me. I am a trainer and a strategist, and a consultant in terms of strategy. So I may not be a direct competitor to a freelancer or an agency, because I can either help both of them, because I can I can forward my clients, because I'm not doing any done for you work. So I can say, okay, I'm consulting you, but hey, get your work done by these people. You understand? So that's the difference between direct competition and indirect competition. And also it should be the same ideal customer and the same market. Some social media person could be serving US companies, and you will be serving maybe Asian companies. You're not direct competition. Okay. Next, business. What products or services does your business offer? / what is your USP? What is the unique selling point that you offer with that product or service? So think about it. If you don't have one, and if you can't think of a unique selling point, how do you differentiate your products or services from your competition? Now is a good time to think about it. Then final question is the brand. What is your brand personality or the tone of voice? Now, how I would like to explain this is, if your brand or your company was a person, think Transformers, okay, car into robot being. If your brand or company transformed into a person, what sort of a personality would he or she have, right? Is it a very masculine, sporty one, or is it a very feminine and dainty and sweet and all of that, wearing pink or like green, red, yellow, blue? You know, what sort of language would they be? Are they going to be funny and creative, or cool and you know, or techie, or very sweet and kind, or boisterous and, you know, authoritative, or very, so what sort of a personality? So this is your brand personality or tone of voice. It's an easier way to kind of put your head around this whole brand personality thing. What kind of clothes are, what kind of colored clothes are there? That's your brand colors, right? So all of that. So think about your brand personality. So in the original questionnaire, there are like some examples that you can tick on or whatever, pick. So whether it's like serious and authoritative, or very friendly and cool. So I'll give you an example from Google. So everybody knows Google colors, right? Red, green, yellow, blue. Four very primary colors, and their whole brand tone is very playful, funny. They have like even in their search engine, they have like every day they have Google Doodles. And when they communicate, like for example, in their when their browser goes offline, you get this whole dinosaur game to play with. So they're not at all serious. They're very cool and funky, techie, geeky, nerdy, that sort of brand, right? So that's the brand personality. So why is this important? This will help you with your content writing and your graphics and your videos. So once you decide on your brand in your head, okay, this is the kind of personality my brand should bring forth. You don't change personalities every day. Today you can't be funny and cool and funky, and tomorrow you can't be serious and like, people will be like, what happened, right? If a person changes personality, people get confused. Just, it's the same with your brand. If you keep changing your brand personality every day, every week, people are going to get confused. So think about it and figure out what sort of personality do you feel that your brand should exude. All right. So let me know if you want me to explain anything. Let's say I need to build up 10,000 entrepreneurs as my customers, but their products I will sell to international marketplace. What was the already time to sleep? What was the brand again, Pradeep? I can't remember. This is the social media company. Oh, okay. Just plan. Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll look into this at the end, right? So, all right. So let's move on. Since nobody has any questions regarding this, let's go into step 3. So step 1 again. Step 1 was where you are right now. Step 2 was where do you want to be? Okay. In terms of your business, in terms of your branding, all of that. So there are lots of different questions you can answer, but we don't have the time to go through all of them. So I'm just going to give you some examples. If you want the entire checklist, it's free. You can get it. Just drop me an email. I will send you the link to you. Third one is, who is your customer? Now we'll go into the ideal customer. But before that, let's talk a little bit about your ideal customer. So who are you helping? Like, what's the type of person you're helping? Are you helping men, women, both, children, maybe children's parents? Who are you really helping? And what are their key characteristics, right? Okay, are they male, female, you know, what age group, or where do they work? What sort of, you know, interests they have, that sort of thing. And where can you find them? Do you think based on their characteristics, their demographics, they mostly hang out on Facebook, or more like Instagram or Twitter? Facebook is actually very, very universal and generic. So
it's not even a question. Anybody and everybody is on Facebook. But if you want to look into a second social media platform, that's where this might be interested. If not, this comes into very, very, very helpful use when it comes to targeting your advertising. And the next question is, what affects their buying decision? What really changes their buying decision? And how do you talk to them? How do you talk to them is how do you write your content, right? In which tone and what way when you talk to them do you think they would listen? So again, your brand personality come into play here, right? The way you will talk to a woman might be slightly different from a man. But if your audience is very generic, then you need to figure out a middle tone. Okay, let's go into this. So there's the ideal customer worksheet. There's a full worksheet. Again, if you want this, you can drop me an email. I will be happy to share it with you. This is just a few questions. So this is more than enough for you to get started with. It's on the download sheet that I have sent you already on your email. So the first 3 questions would be, what's their name, what's their age, what's their gender? So if you can figure this out, like age could be like an age group. Maybe if you have, like, let's say some e-commerce, for example, they have lots of different categories. You have men, women, children, different age groups. So then you need to figure out your primary customer and then your secondary, tertiary, like that. Okay. So name, age, and gender. So take your notebook and write down these things to the best of your knowledge you can think of. So don't just watch this, do this. Because that's the only way you will really get started. Okay. So I've given you a little place that says insert photo, because ideally you should find a photo, like you can Google, or if you really know, if you actually have an ideal customer already, you can take that person's photo, or you can just search something that resembles your customer from Google Photos, put them on this, paste it on your wall, look at this person when you're writing your social media copy or your email marketing copy, and talk to this person. Like, just imagine yourself talking to that person and write it. It should be written to one person. Okay. Next set of questions. Still, we are in the general questions. What location are they? Are they in this country, the country where you are, like, or a different country, or in the same region, maybe like the same continent? Maybe they're in Asia, maybe they're in Africa, maybe they're in the US. And then another question, what industry of work they might do. So this may or may not apply to all businesses, but for some businesses, like say for example, when it comes to like HR related stuff or education related stuff, industry, work, job title, and education might be important. So if it's important to you, if it's a determining factor in your business, then you can note it down. Otherwise, you don't really have to go into detail. Again, relationship status, same thing. In some businesses, it may really matter, but in other businesses, it doesn't. So can we take some examples? Social media marketing is very generic. Delish products. So again, it's a food related thing. I think it may or may not matter. E-commerce, soap making. So hand painted jewelry, that's very interesting. Okay, so hand painted jewelry, if I'm assuming it's for women, so may or may not have a certain age group that that will really love your kind of design. So it could be like then you can decide whether the gender and age and all that. So relationship status sometimes may be important when it comes to, like, if you have if whether the person is getting married, like wedding related stuff, if it's important, then yes, relationship status matters, things like that. And then finally, the monthly or annual income. Now this is really, really important for every business, especially if you're like a bit on the pricey side. Because if you're low ticket, like say soap, or like very not inexpensive jewelry, then anyone and everyone can afford it basically. But if it's like a high-end fashion a top-end brand that's highly priced, or a very authentic and hand-produced expensive soap, then this really matters. Okay, so monthly and annual income matters. So you need to figure out, okay, what sort of a monthly income generating person can afford your product or service. Right, so I hope you figured out until this. You can take screenshots if you want, but you already have this on your email. It would have been on an attachment, so you don't really need to take screenshots. Then next one is specific questions. Top 3 hobbies or personal interests that your ideal customer might have. So let's see, okay, the hand painted jewelry. So obviously they are into fashion, they are into jewelry, they are into dressing up nicely. So they might be looking into all sorts of how to dress nicely YouTube videos, and they might like certain fashion brands. So 3 most favorite brands, top 3 business or brands they follow online, social media. So those questions can be answered by just thinking a little bit about putting yourself in their shoes and thinking, okay, what might they like? Okay, so these are all very guesswork, right? I'll tell you how to refine this. And finally, deeper questions. What are the 3 major problems or pain points that your ideal customer has? Now, when I say pain points, this or these 3 pain points should be related to your product or services. Okay, so for example, okay, can we take another example? Okay, let's say e-commerce. So I'm not too sure which niche the e-commerce is. If you can put it down, it will be great. But let's assume like everything and anything sort of e-commerce. So your ideal customer's biggest pain point is buying stuff, like especially for example at this time, with all this pandemic situation, people don't want to go out and buy stuff. So that's probably their biggest problem, right? So they want to buy stuff without going out, and they want to get it delivered home. So those are like 2 main pain points that they might have, right? So like that, try to figure out their biggest issue that you are or you can solve. The next question is, how can you provide a solution for each of these problems? So maybe you are only addressing one of the pain points that you can think of. Let's say, for example, okay, you have an e-commerce site, but you don't have delivery island-wide. Okay, but you want to your ideal customer is all Sri Lankan. So then that means you have to expand your delivery. Okay, so this is what we are trying to figure out in this section. So what are their biggest issues, and how do you already solve them, and how can you solve some of them that you are not solving? Then the next one is your ideal customer the primary decision maker or not? So what I mean by this is, for example, okay, let's assume you have a food outlet and you are offering takeaway dinner. So let's say people are going home from work and they want to quickly pick up their dinner and go home. But is the person who's, let's say, driving the car or walking into your store the primary decision maker? Sometimes it's the wife or the husband at home. Sometimes it's the kids at home, like calling, Dad, I want this tonight. Like, I want pizza. I don't want anything else, right? So then your primary, okay, so maybe the dad may listen to the kids or not. So think about who might be influencing your ideal customer and whether your ideal customer is a primary decision maker. Another example is education, like, higher education after doing A-levels. So is the student the ultimate decision maker, or is the parent? Who's spending, right? Maybe the student is deciding and the parents are spending. Maybe parents are deciding and spending. So these are the things you need to figure out in this question. All right, so that's the end of that section. Ask me any questions you have super quickly. We are, I think, just passing 10 o'clock, so we have 30 minutes to go. I know some of you may have lots of questions. With this previous webinars, I've got lots of questions. So if you have any questions, ask now. in the chat. No questions? Really? Everything is crystal clear? All right. All good? Shall we go ahead? Yes? No? Okay. One answer is good enough. All right. So, did you learn something new about your customer today? Tell me honestly, like, did this questioning kind of open your mind and made you think differently or think something new about your customer today or your intended customer? Tell me yes or no. That's the question. Did you learn something new about your customer today? Yes or no? I need some feedback from you guys because for me to help you best, around 50%. Good? That's a good answer. Anything. Yes, no, doesn't matter. I just want your feedback. I need to know whether I'm helping you because there's no point in you spending time here and if I'm not helping you. Okay? Both of us are wasting time. All right. Yes. Okay, cool. This helped me. Yes. Yeah. So this exercise again, if you want the full thing, it's a little bit complicated, but this is really good enough for you to start with, to just get an idea. So what you want to do is, let me help you further. So what you want to do is keep doing the same exercise like every end of the month until you really clarify your customer, right? So I'll give you an example from my business. So when I started out with the training, I would work with anyone and everyone, anyone who want to learn social media marketing, whether they're beginners or intermediate level, or whether they're a small business, larger business, agency people, everyone who wanted to learn social media marketing, I would do workshops for them. Then I slowly decided, okay, you know what, I need to let go of some people because it's really difficult to focus helping on all types of people at the same time in the same workshop. Is really difficult because I'm helping little bits each. I'm doing little bit of help to each one, but not a lot of help to a few. So that's why. So I cut them out, and now I'm helping small business owners, especially those who are starting out with social media marketing, because I've seen like there are lots of resources out there for people to learn into expert level, right? But for beginners, it's hardly anything because people moved on a lot and they love to share their expertise. But for beginners, like that's a bit too much, right? So that's why I want to work with beginners in social media marketing and slowly grow them to the next level, and then have probably like 2 different levels of service, right? So this is why you need to keep refining. You will change over time. Every business will change over time, and you need to have this learning process. So final step now. Now you figured out where you are right now in your social media and where you want to be in your business and social media and who you are serving. And now we need to find out how to be seen by your customer. Right. So before we go into the actual activity, let's talk about visibility. So being seen is visibility. So how are you going to be visible if you show up consistently? Now, don't confuse consistency with daily. So you don't have to show up every single day on social media, but you need to show up consistently. That means if you show up 2 times a week this week, next week also you show up 2 times. Week after 2 times. Week after 2 times. Not once this week, 7 times next week, 4 times week after, 3 times the week after, 20 times the next week. Not like that. You can do that. I mean, technically you can, but at least you should have like a consistency most of the weeks. And let's say you're doing a launch or some major activity, like right now I'm in the middle of a launch. So my activities are like all over the place because I'm posting a lot of different things. I'm running webinars, I'm doing a workshop. So then it can change. But in your regular social media marketing, if you take a single channel, you should be posting consistently. Now, while you figure out what's your best way, whether it's morning or afternoon, like every weekday or weekend, you can experiment with this and then find your ideal consistently and then stick to it. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit more about it. So it's better to publish something than not publish anything at all, right? So for this reason, if you don't have a proper social media strategy that you are happy with, don't let that stop you from publishing content. So until you figure it out, what I would recommend you is pick some ideas and just go with it. Just publish stuff that is relevant to you, because not publishing until you figure your strategy out is not going to serve you at all. It's just going to make you disappear, and when you come back, it's going to be so much harder, because the algorithms are going to think, oh, this guy is not active, or this girl is not active, no point. So when you try to come back, it's a massive effort that you have to put. So if you are consistent and then you start something, the proper strategy, then it's so much better for you. So keeping this in mind, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you some good places to start with. So before we go there, here are a few things that will help you with keeping things consistent. One is to use a calendar, or a social media calendar, or a social media content planner. So what I mean by this is, you jot down the ideas, you put like take a Google sheet or something, put the dates down, or a Word document, put the dates down of the dates of the month down, and say, okay, Monday, this week, Monday and Wednesday, I'm posting something. Next week, Tuesday and Thursday, I'm posting. Next week, Monday and Wednesday. So whatever pattern that you feel, or if you're experimenting, okay, this week I'm going to experiment with Monday and Tuesday, next week I'm going to experiment with these days. This week I'm going to experiment with morning. Next week I will experiment with evening. Or once you figure out your ideal pattern, then okay, these are the days and times that I'm going to post, mark them down, and then you think, okay, this coming Monday I'm going to post this, then Wednesday I will post something like this. So just jot down just ideas, not the entire content, just the ideas. I'm going to post about our new catalog. I'm going to post about our share 3 photos from our new collection. I'm going to talk about the new designer we hired. I'm going to show a little video of how we are doing this ABC thing. So like that, just put some ideas down into your content plan. Then another good idea is to work with a content hierarchy. So what I mean by content hierarchy is, you have a big piece of content, like a 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, whatever video. So for example, this webinar we are doing is being recorded. So this is a big piece of content. It's 1.5 hours plus, most probably, long piece of content. So what I can do is, I can cut pieces of these. I can just talk about this one. Okay, if you want to have visibility, you need to show up consistently. How do you show up consistently? The whole thing that I'm going to tell you right now. So that is a little piece of that entirely big, massive piece of content. So what you do is, you take that big one, you cut it into pieces that make sense, and share each piece separately. So how do you share these things? You can share a piece of this video, right? Those few minutes of video. You can change that into a blog post. You can turn it into a podcast episode. You can turn it into a Facebook post. You can turn it into a carousel post. With each of these, use a content planner, work with the content hierarchy, reuse and recycle into different images with a little description. You see, like, you can turn that little piece of content into various types of content. Okay, that's again, and then you can post those into different platforms. Maybe you can share a video on the same thing as a video on Instagram, and the same thing as a carousel post or something on Facebook. So different content. Okay, the same little content piece, but different media or different ways of publishing. And then reuse. Actually, it should be reuse, repurpose, recycle. Okay, so what you do is, okay, let's say you post this piece today, and a couple of months later this post did really well. Okay, let's say you posted it only on Facebook, but it really shot to fame. You got lots of likes and shares and all of that on Facebook. So what I'm going to do is, let's say you did a carousel post or an infographic even, right? You take that infographic and turn it into a video and share it on Instagram. So you reused it and repurposed it, and you essentially recycle the same piece of content, right? So instead of making, like, thinking about something completely brand new, you just take an existing post and reuse it. So what you do is, ideally, like, every time you post, you want to go do your content calendar for, let's say, next month, go a couple of months back and look at all the posts on all your channels and see what are the posts that really did well. Try to reuse, repurpose, and recycle those really well performing pieces, right? Next one is curating content. Sorry. So curating content means you are essentially borrowing stuff from other people. So it could be from industry leaders, it could be from your indirect competition, it could be competitors in a different market, let's say in some other country, or it could be like some some big brand in your niche, right? What you do is you borrow one of your pieces, you give them credit, and you share it with your own take. Let's say you have you found a YouTube video from an industry expert. Okay, let's get to an example. What is this question on? Okay, I'm not sure what industry that is. Okay, let's say soap making. All right, so when it comes to soap, let's say you know this really fancy brand, like maybe a French brand that is like making beautiful soap, and obviously you're not gonna, like, markets are not gonna clash, or customers are not gonna clash. If that's the case, you can borrow something from that soap maker. Ideally, it's not a brand that's smaller than you. It should be a brand bigger than you. Okay, so you share something from that, maybe a beautiful video. So obviously not how they make their soap, but something related to the industry, something related to your customer, but not related to the product, because obviously your product is different. So let's say they share a big, beautiful video on something about staying clean, or the, let's say, why you should have like a beautiful fragrance of soap, because you just refresh at the end of the day. You want to stay calm, and let's say lavender fragrance is what calms you down, and how important it is, some jargon like that. And you see this beautiful video, that's something you would like to share, but they did it way better than you. You can share it, but you should give your own input, like your own expertise on top of their content. Okay, so the beautiful video will capture the attention, but your expertise will show your audience, oh, this one knows what they're talking about. You understand? So that's how you curate content, and ideally tag them. If it's in the same platform, you can reshare it, so it can direct it back to them. But if you're not, if you're not sharing on a different platform, or if you can't like directly tag them, either give the credit to them in some way or form, maybe their website, their handle, or something like that, because that's the absolute must. Finally, scheduling and automation. So we can start with the content planner. So once you have the content planner, then maybe every week you take 1 week stuff. Now you develop those ideas into actual contents, do your graphic, do your video, do your whatever other visual elements, and take let's say a few hours in a day of the week, let's say every Thursday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or whatever the time that it takes you to do 1 week's content is ideally not too much, not too little. So you develop the entire thing and then use a scheduling platform to automate it. So Facebook has its own automation. Facebook has Instagram automation also. And then Twitter has TweetDeck, and you can use other third-party platforms like Later, Buffer, Hootsuite, all these things. They have freemium versions, so you can start out free, and if you like the platform, you can purchase it or continue to use it free. So you can automate your publishing every week or more than a week. So minimum, I would say 1 week, and based on the time or whatever capabilities you have, you could do 2 weeks or even an entire month. So these are the few ideas I can share with you to help you make your content creation that much easier with with more interesting features added to this. What is infographic content? Okay, infographic, just Google the word infographic. It's actually one word, infographic or infograph. So what it is you use images and text to give an idea. It's very, very common. Just Google it and you will see what I mean. Like it's so obvious. Like there are any information can be explained to an audience with images and photos in the same, like a poster like thing, right? So that's an infographic. So it gives you numbers, gives you ideas, gives you topics. So all sorts of different types of infographics are out there, and there are all sorts of tools you can use to make infograms. This is software to automate automation or schedule. When we use is impact to our visibility. I am not understanding that question, Pradeep. What do you mean by that? There is software for automation or schedule. Yes, there is. When we use it impacts visibility or post. What do you mean by it impacts the visibility or post? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Try and explain it to me if you can, please. I will try to answer that. All right. No, it doesn't impact the visibility. It's just like you are just using a tool to publish it on Facebook or Instagram or any other platform. It doesn't affect the algorithm. Okay. There are lots of tools out there. Okay, so what I use is actually Canva. So you can try Canva. You can use it for free. Canva. So you can try canva.com if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so this is the tool. It's again a freemium version. So you can use it. So Canva has already designed graphics where you can put your stuff and change. But there are infographic creating tools out there where you can input your data and images or whatever, and it generates an infographic. So I can't tell you from the top of my head because I haven't used one recently. But you can just Google like infographic tools, like infograph generating tools or apps or something. I'm sure you can find it when you Google. So just try out a few and see. I'm sorry, I'm not in a position to recommend right now because I haven't used one in a long while. That's why. Okay, so with that said, let's move into 35 days of social content. But you can ask me again, drop me an email if you want the entire sheet of 35 days of content. It's again free of charge. You can take it because I made this to help small business owners who are stuck with social media content. So today we are going to discuss 14 of them, right? And the link is actually already there. It should be in your sheet also. You just go to this link and download. I think there was an issue with this link. I will double check. If you can't download it, let me know. I will share it. I'll inbox it to you directly. Okay, right. So let's move into this. So why I'm sharing this with you is, as I said, if you don't have a proper strategy, don't let that stop you from posting. Use these ideas, convert these ideas to your own business, and then use them. So while I'm reading each of these out, think about your own business that you have or planning on having. Convert these ideas into what you can do in your business. Okay, so the first one is, I put this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not to say that this should be on a Monday, this should be on a Tuesday. It's just to help you with the just keep the mic mute if possible, because otherwise it's a bit distracting. All right, so I'm keeping this into a calendar sort of a platform, but you can change this any way you want. It doesn't really matter. So the first idea is an inspirational quote. This is very, very basic, but people love inspirational quotes, right? So you can share a quote with an eye-catching image and some text, or just very plain background and text, like very different types of mix of text. So both those really work well. So these quotes can be from your niche, from your business, from you, your industry experts, or something very inspirational from some generic inspirational type of quote. So you could do this like maybe once a week, but not more than that. Definitely not more than once a week, right? Next idea is a poll. So most social platforms have their inbuilt poll features. So use these poll features to ask questions from your audience. So this is a really great way to get more insight from your ideal customer. So remember, when you're doing ideal customer plan, you may have come across some question. Oh, is my customer like this or like this? If you have asked yourself any of those questions, this is where you can put those questions down and ask them straight up. Okay, so they will try to get them to answer your questions. Ask them in a really interesting way so that they feel like answering. All right. Third idea is industry jargon. So if certain industries, like especially techie industries, have like industry jargon. So maybe like if you take social media or marketing, you have like ROI, ROAS or ROAS, then USP, KPI, URL, SEO, all those things, right? So you can take those acronyms or just words like pixel, like Facebook pixel. Okay, what is a Facebook pixel? What is it used for? So you can use those industry jargon and do either a short video about it, or an infographic, or just an image and text in it, and give a little explanation on what that means as a word, and what it means to your customer as in your business. So that kind of shows off your expertise. So if you have a lot of jargon, like in marketing or other kind of business, then you have a really good opportunity to show off your expertise, right? Then TBTs or hashtag Throwback Thursday is a really good idea to share things from the past. I was going to say blast from the past, not past. And so it's some, you can share things from the beginning of your business, how you started out, like, you know, how Google shares like that first garage that they started their business. And, you know, I think Apple also shared something like that. So you can share like your humble beginnings, who was your first customer, your first supplier, your first employee. You know, maybe your first employee was your dog, or, you know, who accompanied you when you were doing freelance. So all these funny stories, like people would love to see some stories from the past. So you can share them. So this one is actually on a Thursday. So because TBT is for Thursday, but you can show just throwback without the Thursday part on any other day. Then another idea is behind the scene video. So maybe like a short video, like 1 to 3 minute video sharing something that happened during the week, something funny, something interesting, something curious, like let's say you are doing like a sneak peek or something like that. Then you can do a mini contest. So you could do like a competition without a giveaway, or you could do a competition with a very small giveaway, like a 2-day competition. Um, as it could be like a math trick, or it could be a trivia, something like that. Something that is related to your niche, anything like that. Then another example is a meme. So beware of memes, because some of them could be not so related. So try to find a meme that's related to your industry or niche. Let's say if you're in healthcare, something related to fitness and a healthy lifestyle. Memes are generally funny, makes fun of the brand or the industry. So be very careful of the backstory of the meme. Some memes are out there, like they're seemingly very innocent and funny, but if you look at the backstory, there might be something a bit caution. So make sure you get to know a little bit about the backstory before you share the meme, because if it's just you sharing as a person, it's no big deal, but because it's a brand, you have to be double careful. Then the next idea is an infographic. So I asked you, if you're not sure about this, just Google the word and you will see. Trust me, you will see what it means. Like if you want, Google it real quickly and you will see what infographic means. It's just images and text and numbers explaining something complex in a very simple way. So graphs and charts and all those things go, numbers and percentages go, or just text sometimes. So use an infographic that summarizes some important statistic or details related to your niche, maybe like maybe 3 different ideas, like percentage of people who are, let's say if it's healthcare, like suffering from whatever the top 3 illnesses related to bad, not having a good diet, or something like that. So just a small idea. It doesn't have to be very complex detailed infographic, just 2 or 3 ideas. 3, 4, 5 would be good numbers, so that you don't really like stress yourself into finding details and numbers. Next idea is curated content. So I told you earlier about curated content. So from a leading figure or business in your niche, you can share some curated content. A blog post from your own blog, or maybe if you're someone in your staff, or someone can do a guest post in your niche. Like let's say, for example, if you're doing a business and there is an industry expert person who's not a direct competition. So remember, when you're doing curated content and this guest blogging, make sure it's not a direct competitor, and share share a blog post from your own or their blog. Then you can do a team photo, like share your team members' achievements, or your entire team, or just one team member at a time, something like that. Then randomly you can once in a while do like a pop-up discount or a giveaway of something that people love, and or like for a weekend only, or for a special holiday, like some special holiday that might come up, or make up your own special holiday, right? Because there are lots of special days out there. If you just check like Google like special days and holidays calendar, you will find all sorts of like weirdest special days. You can celebrate one of those weird special days that are related to your brand. Okay, then the next one is caption a pic. Now this is also a little bit cliche, but if you are very smart and you find the right photo, it could be sharing something where people would love to guess, but when you give them the answer, that will kind of put you one step higher, like something that's interesting, or something that kind of put a feather on your cap, type of a photo, but they don't know the backstory. So this is like a nicer way of getting them to engage with you and then telling them like the cool story behind it, right? So if you use this in a wise way, it can become a really good content idea. Okay. Then finally, a survey. Again, just like a poll, but this time on a third party, like using something like Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or any other type of platform where you can run a little survey where you go a bit more deeper into a question. So sometimes if you ask too deep questions or too many questions, you might want to give an incentive to your audience, like, you know, bribe them to fill the survey because the survey information is superbly important for you. So this is like a real good way of getting to know your ideal customer better, because that will really help you with the targeting, and this is a crucial step in growing your business. Right. So that's 14 out of the 35 ideas. If you want the full one, you can try this link. If there is an issue with the link, let me know in the email, and I will send you the direct link to download it. All right. So we are almost at the end. So can you think of more content ideas while we were discussing? If you thought about any other content ideas, you write it down, and let's wrap it up. So first of all, we discussed how to get started. So before we get started, we need to first figure out where we are. That's what we did with the social media audit. Then we needed to figure out where do we need to go. That's what the quiz was, the checklist quiz was, right? And so those two, you need to develop those things, because you need to figure out the more details, like say your social media goals. Okay, in the first month, where do I want to be? I want to have like 1,000 fans, or at the end of the year, I want this amount. So then how do I want to grow my business? So that plan has to be done in your step 2. Step 3 is the next most important thing, that you need to figure out your ideal customer, because that will help you write your social content and target your advertising. And let me give you the answer to those 6 questions. Remember, right at the beginning, I will give you those answers. And the final one was the 35-day content plan, that and those content ideas, like how to make your life easy to automate your content plan, right? So here are the answers. Are you ready? So we figured out where to start. You start with you. Target audience, you have to identify, and visibility, you have to show up consistently. That we sorted. Then content overwhelm. How am I going to write all of this content? But I gave you a little bit of answer to that. But this is again beginner stuff. So you start with this and you advance. So what you do is you bulk create. I told you, like, take a day off a week and sit down and do it. Another idea is to outsource the content part. So you can hire someone to do your content. You can hire a freelancer, a virtual assistant, which is becoming highly popular right now. So you can pay someone else to do your content if that serves you better. But if you are unable to do that, if you're doing everything by yourself, like bootstrapping everything, then make sure you bulk create. Like, let's say you need to do 5 videos this month, like 1 video this week, another video next week, like that. You do all 5 videos on the same day, take half a day, like tuck, do 5 videos and finish it. Because when you focus on one idea, it's easier to do 5 videos faster in one go than 5 videos on 5 different days, right? When you do it, you will experience what I really mean, right? It's logical also. And then you schedule them. So this week's one, next week's one, the other week, you just schedule them, finish, done, right? Engagement. Okay, so here is where content mastery. So this is a little bit advanced stuff, not too advanced, but it's not highly super beginner stuff. You need to learn copy, graphics, or visuals, and video. Okay, so all of these 3 types of content you have to master. So I'll tell you where you can learn a little bit more about that, and leads and sales. So before I go into leads and sales, I will tell you one thing, whether you like it or not, organic is dead. Let that sink in. Organic is dead. Okay, why? Okay, social media started, the entire industry started completely free. Facebook pages were free, everything was free. There were no ads. You could post something and 10,000 people will see them. Not anymore. 10 years later, or 7, 6, 8 years later, whatever the platform, whenever they launched, now every platform has algorithm. Every platform has its own algorithm. Why is there an algorithm? What's their purpose? A, it makes sense because the sheer number of people that are on the platform, we will literally see our newsfeed going like this, right? Okay. So A, to avoid that, and B, obviously they want people to stay on the platform more. So they are trying to figure out, okay, what is more relevant to you and me, and show more of that stuff that make the person stay more on the platform. And third reason, this is obviously the easiest way they can charge businesses money to show their content to the right people. So they have all the information about the people. So it's super easy for them to charge the business, because obviously they have to pay the salaries of all the hundreds and millions of people who are working for them on the back end. They need to earn money. So if you want sales and leads, you need to run ads, smart ads. Okay, why I'm saying smart ads is, ideally you spend $1 on your ad and earn $2 back. Ideal situation. So that is the type of ad that you need to run. So how do you run an ad like that? Okay, so there are lots of different ways of running ads like that. So you need to use an idea called marketing funnels or sales funnels. So what it does is, you first target, run an ad to your cold audience, meaning people who don't know anything about you, because you need visibility. People need to first know you before they even buy from you. Nobody's gonna buy from a brand that they see for the first time unless they're saying it's free, right? So you need to be seen first, and seen second, third. Some experts say 33 times you need to be seen before someone actually buys from you. So it could be your posts, it could be different ads, it could be your events, it could be your live sessions, it could be all sorts of things. So people only buy from you if they are very familiar with it, and very familiar with your brand, and they know you, they like you, and they trust you. So know, like, and trust. For this to be achieved, you need to be seen several times, and without ads, it's quite difficult to do that. So you start with your cold audience, which is the audience who don't know much about you, and then retarget that audience with a second set of ads. So what happens? Those people who saw you in the first time are seeing you again and again and again and again until they're convinced, oh, you know what, I can actually buy from this person. I think I can trust. I like this brand enough and trust enough because, oh, I see a lot of them. Right? That's why the whole repetition of TV, radio, newspaper ads are for, right? Eventually you build some kind of trust on that brand because you think, oh, so many times I'm seeing, must be a popular brand, right? It's human psychology. So that's why you need to run smart ads. So these finer points, you can find all these solutions, all sorts of ways. You can Google it, Google University, you can watch YouTube tutorials, YouTube University. But the problem with these two amazing solutions are, I mean, there are lots of information out there, but that itself, it can sometimes be overwhelming because you don't know, there are so many information. And most of them are correct. It's just that they are on different paths. And if you start this path and this path and this path at the same time, you can get confused. You might be doing the same thing in different ways. You need a path for growth. first step, second step, third step, like that. You need a path for growth. So for this, a better way is to read a book or an ebook or follow a course. This is great. But if you want something more active, like this is very passive, you sit on the back end and you figure it out, nobody to ask, you just have that and you follow it. You're not sure whether you're doing it right or wrong. And a better solution I could give you would be workshop, co-creation. You know obviously what workshops is, right? What we're doing right now is a workshop. It's a live interactive workshop. Okay, I'm guiding you, I'm answering your questions and all of that. Co-creation is where a consultant or a coach or someone who's helping you out is doing half your work. So maybe they are doing your strategy and giving it to you, where you will do the content only. So both of you are doing half work. Then finally, the consulting and coaching, where the coach or the consultant will completely guide you step by step from beginning to end to your end goal with a certain period of time. So these three methods are better if you want to learn further. So I also have an upcoming workshop if you like this weekend. This is the link. You can sign up for it if you like. So this workshop is again for beginners like you, where we talk about all of those 6 issues plus some more. And if you go to this link, you can get the full details of what you want to know. And if this interests you, you're welcome to sign up. And with that, we will open up for questions, and you can ask whatever the questions that you may have and clear everything out before you go. Otherwise, if you're all good, done, thank you for coming and good night. But if you have questions, stay, ask me questions, and let's work on it. All right, go. Chat box or speak, whichever way. So few questions that I got on email were, what is the best, what's the best product boosting FB combined or Instagram or only FB? Okay, so I think in during the workshop I mentioned you can combine both. You can pick one. It's actually, it depends on your own mission. So if you have 2 purposes, one main purpose for Facebook and one main purpose for Instagram, or your ideal client is mainly on Instagram, but you want to target them on Facebook also, then use both, right? If you have the time and the capacity, use both, because the more you are seen, the better visibility you have, obviously, right? So my first answer would be yes, use both. But then again, if you want to select one for a particular purpose, either because you don't have the time or space, or your ideal audience is in one place, you can. Yes, I am having the 30-day challenge in August. Yes, right. Okay, what is that? Personal question. No, I am not working for SLBC. Yeah. I probably walk past the SLBC. All right. So what's the best way to boost a local product overseas, country-wise, or select the demography? Both. Okay. So let me explain how that would work. So if you know the exact country, let's say you want to sell only in UK, right? Then you pick the country. But once you pick the country, you have to select the demography as well. If you are selling globally, let's say, for example, you're an e-commerce or you're a media brand, right? And you want to broadcast or sell globally, then you can select worldwide in your ad manager to go into the global audience. But it's very, very wide. So once you select your location, you have to select the other targeting, like the age group, if it's necessary. So this is why you need your ideal customer, worksheet sorted out. So then you know the demographics that you want to target. Then you niche it down in that particular country or region or several countries. You can target that. So don't stop with the country. If you can target it, you do that. So another way of doing it is actually by doing brand awareness ad from the Facebook ad category. So what brand awareness ad category does is something really cool. So when you run the brand awareness ad, Facebook will sort of pick the people who they think would be interested in your brand based on the type of brand that you offer, and based on the people who have shown interest in similar brands, or people who are similar to your existing audience. So in different ways, Facebook will nitpick and pick and choose different people from your main audience without any targeting, and show your content to those audience. So that's a really cool way, because no matter what marketing and what tactic you learn, Facebook has the best information, so you can trust the Facebook algorithm to do this for you way better than any of us can, right? Then what are payment ways to sell products via social media? Cash on delivery, credit card swipe. Is there a way we can get paid before delivering? Paid before delivering is obviously online payment. So if you have like a website or something, you can get paid online and then do the delivery. But that said, online payment in Sri Lanka is really tricky, because I know you're from Sri Lanka, that's why I'm mentioning this. So online payment in Sri Lanka is really tricky, and I know that. You need to probably use a system like Pay Here or something that works online locally. But if you want to sell to the overseas market online and get the payment before the delivery, then you have to go with a platform like Shopify or something similar. So any platform that offers you online payment, like Shopify, I think the Shopify is the best one out there, the easiest and the most affordable solution out there. So you can go try something like that. But if your product is not a tangible product, but if it's like more of a educational information product, like let's say, okay, you want to sell a course online, then use a platform like Teachable, Kajabi, Thinkific. They have their own platforms, so I don't think the free versions have it. Or you can even use WordPress with certain plugins where you can have a payment sorted out. So you can use, I know PayPal is an issue. Some of you may have tried PayPal with, alternative methods that works. Or you can try something like Skrill, Payoneer, but Payoneer is again business to business, not peer to peer. And then what else? Things like World Remit and all of that you can try. I haven't really tried them, but again, that's more like consulting payments, like service payments, not like bulk selling like products. So there are different platforms you can use, so try them and see. Let me know if I'm answering your questions correctly. Sorry. Do you think a website is necessary for a small business? Okay, so a website. Let me tell you one thing. A website as a standalone static figure that just sits there and showcases your stuff in a nicer way is useless. The purpose of the website in today's day and age should be that it should be part of your sales funnel. So if you have a website, you need to have two very important things: Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, because your website should be able to track everyone that visits, and you should be able to track them from your Facebook and Google side of things, right? So having a website is great. It's not essential at the start, but if you are thinking of massive business growth with proper sales funnels and you want to earn profits, then you need to have a website, not as a standalone online catalog, but as a functioning sales funnel. Okay. What else? Is Pinterest valuable? Then which countries? Countries, I am not 100% sure, but okay, let me tell you what Pinterest can be useful for. Pinterest is useful if you are targeting mainly a female, a little bit mature, well, not extremely young, but well, mainly female audience. But because the platform essentially appeals a lot to the female audience, and Pinterest is great with things like YouTube channels. So if you want to promote your YouTube channel, your podcast, your blog, Pinterest is ideal. Okay, so Pinterest shouldn't be treated. It's not a social platform that works by itself like Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter. Not even like Twitter. Twitter can work by itself, but Pinterest essentially cannot work by itself. It has to link to a third party thing, right? So that's why it's really good, because it's a very visual and nice platform. Again, you can use Canva to create really nice, eye-catching Pinterest thumbnails. I love those graphics that they have. So Pinterest is ideal for you to promote some other platform on it to appeal to the audience that's on Pinterest. Not Google Pixel, Facebook Pixel and Google Analytics. Okay, Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel. All right. So these are essentially like Facebook Pixel is basically a code that you just copy from your ad backend, and then you just put it in your website. So a web developer can easily do this for you. If you have a web developer or someone to help you with your website, you just copy and paste it and just email it to them, and they know exactly where to put it if you give them the backend access. What else? What is the best image template to get extra reach? Wow, there's no best image template. There's no ideal one size fits all template. But what I'll tell you is try to keep to the platform's ideal image resolution as much as possible. So if it's Instagram, try to keep it square, ideally like 1080 by 1080 or 800 by 800. Anything that's square is perfect for Instagram, because it looks nice on the feed and looks nice on your main timeline also. If it's Facebook, well, pretty much anything does, except for like the tall ones, like the tower-like ones, either the 3x4 type of one or square ones, both work. And then Twitter, definitely the 3x4, but it has a specific size. So again, why I would recommend Canva is you have all these sizes sorted out for you, and you can change the size. Like let's say you painstakingly make a really nice image, and now you want it as your story, as your Facebook, as your Instagram, as your whatever. You can resize all of those, the same thing to different platforms in like one shot. So the pro version lets you do that with a single click, but the free version, you can just copy and paste it like same story. It's just an extra step, that's it. So you won't go wrong with the sizes. There are so many to choose from in Canva. Yes, there are so many to choose from. So in the beginning, spend some time sorting out what's more essential for you. Like once you sort out your image guidelines, like what sort of images does you think would be good to represent your brand, and you can like pick a few images that you really like and just change them over, like the color scheme and all of that. So you can do brand colors, you can do brand text, you can include logos. All of this can be done in the free platform. You can set those things up in the branding segment, and you can, and there are lots of tutorials you can watch to help you like sort it out. In the beginning it might be a little bit overwhelming, but trust me, it's far easier than learning Photoshop, like 100 times easier, because the graphics are done for you. Especially if you are a designer by nature, don't use Canva, because it's gonna annoy you because you are a designer and you want to like design it the way you want, and Canva is too restrictive. But if you are not a good designer, and you don't have the time to learn Photoshop, or you don't want to, or you can't, then Canva is ideal. So it's up to you. If you're a designer by nature, by all means use Photoshop or some other, like Pixlr is a really good online tool, which is pretty similar to Photoshop, but much easier and simpler. Can you tell the payment platforms in the chat? Okay. What's that meaning? Anushka, what do you mean by what's that? I'm not too sure which one you were referring to. Okay, payment platforms. So if you're like selling stuff, selling goods, it would be Shopify. Then can selling education or information. Can try Teachable, Kajabi, Thinkific. I hope I'm writing the correct spellings. And what else? You can use WordPress plus plugins. Oh shoot, I'm sending this as a private message. Oh, sorry. Dude, okay, let me try that again. Oops. Okay. So selling products is Shopify, and educational information Teachable, Kajabi. These are all platforms, right? They're not payment gateways. These are platforms where you can sell stuff which has an inbuilt payment option, right? Then WordPress or even Wix, I think. I haven't used Wix, but and there's another one that's called Bitrix 24. Haven't tried that, but I've seen it around. So WordPress, I am about to use the, but Wix, I know they have, and Bitrix I know they have. So just try these things. Yes, WooCommerce is another good one. There's also another one called BigCommerce. So these are all like platforms, not payment gateways. So payment gateways, obviously PayPal, which is the elusive one. But I saw there was a news article that they are meeting with some, central bank is going to meet with some PayPal official. Let's all keep our fingers crossed, right? And what is that other one? It's real. What else? World Remit, Payoneer, but Payoneer is more like business to business. So if you're working with like companies, like if you're servicing overseas companies, then Payoneer is good. Like let's say you're providing services for like with a retainer, then Payoneer is really good for that purpose. But if you're like selling your like an e-commerce kind of thing, Payoneer won't work. Okay. What else? Okay, let me go back to that question. Is there a site to refer that has done research on current trends, consumer behavior, marketing, upcoming regional? Okay, so there's a Google free tool that has the recent post-COVID research done. I forget, I had shared it on my Facebook page. I can't really remember it's not Google Trends, but it's Google Shopping or Google Research, or I can't remember the name, but there is a Google tool that has done a lot of research. You can find these details and it's completely free of charge. You can find these details. I cannot remember the name. The tool that's like Photoshop is Pixlr. Pixlr.com. Let me try and. It's on my. So Pixlr.com. Okay, this is a Photoshop Lite tool. They have like at least 2 different tools. They are like a photo editor, like a very Photoshop-like one, and a slightly different one where you can do like different text, like nice finishing stuff, like photo finishing or whatever, put in the finishing touches. So 2 different tools. I know for a fact there might be a 3rd tool. They also have a mobile mobile app also, which is pretty good. You're welcome. Okay, so did I answer all questions? Is there any free platform to host a website if we own a domain name? I think WordPress you can do that. WordPress, you can host your website for free with your own domain name, but you can't put any plugins. So that means you can't put your Facebook pixel, you can't put your Google Analytics, none of that. It's just a website. So it's good if you want to just have visibility with your website and your blog. WordPress, and I think Wix also offers. I'm not entirely sure whether Wix allows pixel and analytics on the free platform. Just go to their price instruction and see. What else? Wix is not free. It is, right? Wix has a freemium unless they changed in the past couple of weeks or something. If I'm not mistaken, Wix had a free this thing, because I had a free website builder. There you go. It's freemium, so they have a free one and a paid one, and it starts really low and very affordable. Even WordPress is very affordable. It starts with like $4 a month, but they charge the entire year in one go. So that's the only catch. But monthly payment is not that expensive, just $4. But they charge for the entire month. Like the Pro one starts with $4. Yep, it is free. So also Bitrix24 also has like CRM, website, landing pages, email marketing, all of those things free. I'm actually about to do a little bit of experimenting with them because I want to see how well they work for beginner businesses. So if it really works, I want to sort of show people exactly how they can benefit from it. If it really works, like what are the pros and cons. So wait for it on my Facebook. So that's what I use my Facebook for, like basically my Facebook page to showcase all these Frankenstein experiments. So why don't you just reply my email with this email. So I will add it to my email list because I can't copy and paste this. So it's really going to be difficult once this broadcast ends. I won't be able to copy and get your email address. So just drop an email to my email, the one you got this Zoom link from. Send your email and say, hey Indu, can you add me to your email list? I will add you. So I'm trying to I'm just revamping my email marketing to send lots of valuable stuff to people. So all the things that I work on and like all the invitations that I send for like all these special stuff, like all the freebies, all the brand new launches, it's the email list that gets it first, then my close group for all the students, and then everybody else, right? So getting in the email list puts you in the topmost place. And all right, so before you go, if you'd like to learn more, please join my workshop on the weekend. Check out the details. I shared the link with you guys. Go and check. I mean, it's not going to cost you to read through it. If it makes sense to you, you're more than welcome. It's going to be like a 4-hour Saturday 4 hours, Sunday 4 hours, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. A workshop just like this, but more involvement from you guys. I will want you guys to talk. I will put you into groups and give you work to do. So you will walk out of the weekend with your strategy sorted, your 3-month content plan sorted, your advertising. Like, I will be teaching you 3 really easy, dirt cheap advertising methods for your visibility, and 1 really cool promotional plan for your small business. So all of these things and more, there's plus. There'll be like actually I'll be helping with you guys like one-on-one, helping with you for 3 months. You'll find out how 3 months, and if you so those 3 months you will be able to iron out all your beginner issues and nail it, and then you will be on your way for the next level. So yeah, check it out and join me if you like. All right, so guys, I think everything is sorted. Good night and have a great week ahead. Bye bye. And if you have any more questions, drop me an email or drop me a message on my Facebook page. Bye bye.